Hello friends, welcome to your own platform Englitminds. Today we will discussing on literary movement which is very important for all examination included LT grade or GIC exam. Let's begin without delay. Today's very first question, which literary movement associated with the late 16th century, early 16th to early 17th century emphasized humanism, individualism, and classical influences, as seen in the works of William Shakespeare and Edmund Spenser. Option B, Renaissance. The Renaissance, 14th to 16th century or 17th century, was marked by a revival of classical learning, humanism, and artistic innovation. Shakespeare plays and Spenser's The Fairy Queen exemplify this movement focused on human potential and classical forms. Next, the Augustan age of the part of neoclassical movement is characterized by an emphasis on order, reason, and satire, which work by Alexander Pope best represents this period. The Prelude, lyrical ballads, or Ulysses. Option B, The Rape of Lock. The Augustan age, early 18th century. Emulated Roman literature's clarity and wit. Pope's The Rape of Lock is a mock epic satire embodying neoclassical ideals of reason and social critique. Romanticism, late 18th and 19th century, prioritize क्या? Emotion, nature, and individualism, which poet coined the phrase spots the time of time in describe moments of profound personal experience. Option A, William Wordsworth. In the prelude, Wordsworth uses spots of time to describe moments that shape the individual consciousness, a key romantic concept. The Victorian age, 1837 to 1901, often explored social issues and moral dilemmas, which novel by Dickens critiques the industrial society of the period. Option B, Hard Times. Dickens' Hard Times critiques industrialization and utilitarianism, reflecting Victorian concern about social reform and human cost. Modernism, emerging in the early 20th century, is characterized by fragmentation and a break off from tradition, which work by T.S. Eliot exemplifies this movement. Option A, The Waste Land. Eliot's The Wasteland 1922 was fragmented structure, illusions, and disillusionment to reflect the modernist themes of alienation and cultural decay. Postmodernism often employs irony, metafiction, and intertextuality, which novel by Salman Rushdie is a key example of postmodern Indian English literature. Obviously, option A is correct answer, Midnight Children. Rushdie Midnight Children 1981 uses magical realism. Metafiction and historical allegory also included metafiction fiction and historical allegory, making it a cornerstone of postmodern and post-colonial literature. Next, the Gothic movement, prominent in the late 18th century, emphasized the sublime and supernatural, which novel is considered as a foundational Gothic text. Option A, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. 1818 combines horror. Shelley's Frankenstein 1818 combines horror, the sublime, and moral question. Means horror का भी mixture and sublime, superiority, and moral questions also included. Defining Gothic literature focus on fear and the unknown. Means Gothic है तो fear and unknown regions also included. Next, which literary movement associated with Beat generation in the mid 20th century rejected materialism and embraced spontaneity, as seen in Jack on the Road? Option C is correct answer, Beat movement. In 1940 to 1950, emphasized non-conformity and spiritual exploration. Europe on the Road reflects its spontaneous prose and countercultural ethos. Next question. Post-colonial literature, a trending topic in UGC net or all examination, critiques colonial legacies, which work by Chinua Achebe addresses the impact of British colonialism in Africa. Means why topic is trending. Option A, the things of fall apart. Things Fall Apart, Chinua Achebe, 1958, portrays the disruption of Igbo society by British colonialism, a key text in post-colonial studies. Means post-colonial studies में Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe important है. The concept of canonization in literature refer to the process by which texts gain authoritative status, which critiques work. The Western canon defends the literary canon against modern challenges. Option A, Harold Bloom. Bloom, The Western Canon, 1994. Argues for the enduring value of classic work, addressing debate about canon formation. Next, the term canonization in English literature refers to the process by which certain texts or authors are deemed significant and authoritative, forming the literary canon. This process is influenced by cultural, historical, and social and scholarly factors. Key movements like Romanticism, Modernism, and post-colonialism have reshaped the canon by introducing diverse voices. Indian and African writers Harold Bloom's work is pivotal in understanding canon debates, and F.R. Lewis' The Great Tradition, which argues for the selective canon based on moral and aesthetic value. Next question. The Elizabethan age, a subset of the Renaissance, is renowned for its dramatic achievements, which of Shakespeare's plays is considered a quintessential. ये मिस स्पेल्ड में आप लोगों का पूछता भी है. Example of Elizabethan tragedy. Which one? The Tempest, Hamlet, Midsummer Night's Dream, or Twelfth Night? Option B, Hamlet, 1600. Exemplifies Elizabethan tragedy with its exploration of existential themes, complex characters, and poetic depth, central to Renaissance humanism. Next question. New Classical 1660 to 1798 emphasized restraint and classical form, which authors Gulliver Travels uses satire to critique human nature and society, reflecting neoclassical ideals. Swift, Johnson, Duffy, and Pope. Option A is correct answer, Jonathan Swift. Swift Gulliver Travels in 1726 employs sharp satire and rational critique, aligning with neoclassical focus on reason and social commentary. Next question. Romanticism rejected neoclassical restraint in favor of imagination and emotion, which work by Samuel Taylor Coleridge embodies the romantic fascination with the supernatural. Kubla Khan, an essay on man, the deserted village, elegy written in a country churchyard. Obviously, option A, Kubla Khan. Coleridge Kubla Khan 1816 uses vivid imagery and dream-like elements, reflecting romanticism emphasis on the sublime and imagination. Next, the Victorian novel often addressed social reform, which novel by Charlotte Bronte explores themes of gender and class, contributing to its which novel by Charlotte Bronte explores themes of gender and class, contributing to its canonical status. Jane Eyre's Great Expectation, Tests of the Daredevils, and Vanity Fair. Obviously, answer A. Jane Eyre, 1847. 47. Critiques Victorian gender roles and social hierarchy, securing its place in the literary canon. Modernism experimented with the narrative forms and perspective, with novel by Virginia Woolf uses stream of consciousness to depict the inner lives of its characters. Mrs. Dalloway and To the Lighthouse. Option D is correct answer. Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway 1925 and To the Lighthouse after 2 years 1927. Employ stream of consciousness, a hallmark of modernist innovation. Postmodern literature often blurs boundaries between high and low culture, which novel by Thomas exemplifies this through its complex fragmented narrative. Option D, all of the above. Indian works including Gravity Rainbow 1973, The Crime of Lord 49 1966, and Fifth 1963, means 63, 66, and 73. Uses intertextuality and fragmented narratives. Next, the Transcendentalist movement, including influencing English literature through American writers, emphasized individual intuition, which work by Ralph Waldo Emerson reflects this philosophy. Option A, nature. Immersion Nature, 1836. Articulate transcendentalist believes in the divine connection between humans and nature. Next question. Post-colonial literature often reclaims marginalized voice. Which novel by Ngugi wa Thiong'o, written in Gikyu, challenges colonial linguistic dominance? फ्रेंड्स, मैंने इसके लिटरेरी टर्म्स एंड मोमेंट्स के कॉम्प्रिहेंसिवली क्वेश्चन एंड टर्म्स करवा रखे हैं. ये ओनली प्रैक्टिस सेशन है, सो हम सिर्फ आंसर टू आंसर टिकल करेंगे और आगे बढ़ेंगे क्योंकि नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चन 100 है, तो हमको कवर भी करना है टाइमली. डेविल ऑन द क्रॉस, ऑप्शन बी इज करेक्ट आंसर. Devil on the Cross, 1980, written in Gikyu, critiques neoclassical and asserts cultural identity. What do you think about Harlem Renaissance? The Harlem Renaissance, 1920s and 1930s, celebrated African American culture, with poetic works such as the Weary Blues contributed to its literary canon. Option A, Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes, The Weary Blues. In 1926, blends jazz rhythm with poetry, a key contribution to the Harlem Renaissance, often its cultural significance. Next, the literary canon has been debated for its exclusively which feminist critique or literature of their own argues for the inclusion of women writers in the canon. Eunice Walter, Virginia Woolf, Simone de Beauvoir, and Kate Millett. Option A, Eunice Walter. So Walter, a literature of their own, in 1977, traces the tradition of women writing, advocating for its canonical recognition. These all MCQs are major literary terms: Renaissance, Neoclassicism, Romanticism, Victorian Modernism, Postmodernism, Transcendentalism, Postcolonialism, and Harlem Renaissance, and addresses canonization by highlighting works and authors that have shaped the literary canon. So, guys, do like, share, and subscribe, and share your own thoughts in comment section. Next question. The metaphysical poets active in the early 17th century are noted for their intellectual and complex imagery, which poet works such as The Flea is a hallmark of this moment? Obviously, all of the above. The metaphysical poets, including Donne, Marvell, and Herbert, all of the metaphysical poets used conceits and philosophical theme. Donne's ये जो द फ्ली है ये किसका है? डन का। और कब? 1633 exemplifies what? Their wit and is of frequent. Next, in the Restoration age, 1660 to 1700, saw a revival of drama and wit, which play by William Congreve reflects the comedic style of this period. Option A, The Way of the World. Congreve, The Way of the World in 1700 is a restoration comedy known for its witty dialogue and social satire. Next question. Romanticism emphasized individualism and nature, which poet ode to the west wind reflects the movement's revolutionary spirit. Obviously, option B is correct answer. P.B. Shelley. Shelley's ode to the west wind in 1819. अरे no, very easy. 1819, 1819 uses nature as a symbol of revolutionary change. A core romantic themes. The pre-Raphaelite brotherhood, a Victorian sub-movement focused on vivid imagery and medieval themes, which poets the blessed damsel is a key example. Option A, D.G. Rossetti. The Blessed Damsel, 1850. Combines sensuous imagery and spiritual themes central to pre-Raphaelite aesthetics. Modernism broke with traditional forms to reflect fragmented realities, which work by James Joyce is considered a landmark of modernist fiction. Option B, Ulysses. Joyce Ulysses 1922 1920 नहीं 1922 Ulysses 1920 नहीं 1922 means this is trick. Uses stream of consciousness and mythic parallels, making it a cornerstone of modernist literature. Next, postmodernism embraces playfulness and intertextuality, with novel by Margaret Atwood blends dystopian and feminist themes. reflecting postmodern techniques. Cacti, Oryx and Craig, alias Grace. Option A is correct answer. The Handmaid's Tales in 1985 uses fragmented narratives and unreliable narrators, aligning with postmodernism while addressing feminist concerns. Which novel by Margaret Atwood? The Handmaid's Tale. Next, the naturalist movement, influencing late 19th century literature, emphasized determinism and social conditions. Which novel by Thomas Hardy reflects the naturalist themes? Option B, Test of the Daredevil. Hardy Test of the Daredevils, 1891. यहाँ 18-19 नहीं है, ओ टू द वेस्ट विंड की तरह यहाँ पे 1891 हो चुका है, मतलब वो 19 उल्टा, मतलब ओ टू द वेस्ट विंड क्या है 1819. Portraits of protagonists fate and shaped by social and environmental forces. Next, Indian English literature. A focus in recent examination. Reflect a post-colonial theme. Which novel by R.K. Narayan portrays small town Indian life? Swami and Friends. Narayana Swami and Friends, 1935. Captures the simplicity and humor of Indian life, contributing to the post-colonial canon. Next question. The Bloomsbury groups associated with modernism included writers like Virginia Woolf and A.M. Forster. Novel critique British colonialism, aligning with the group's intellectualism. Option C is correct answer. A Passage to India. Foster A Passage to India, 1924. Explores colonial tension and cultural misunderstandings. A modern and post-colonial text. Next, the literary canon has been critiqued for its Eurocentrism, which critique Orientalism, challenges Western representation of the East, influencing canon debates. Option A, Edward Said. Said's Orientalism, 1978, not 78, 1978. Critiques Western stereotypes of the East, reshaping post-colonial canon discussions. These covers metaphysical poetry, restoration, pre-Raphaelite naturalism, and Indian English literature, and reinforce the concept of the canonization by focusing on works and authors central and to the literary canon like James Joyce, Ulysses, जैसा कि हमने देखा, नारायण आर के नारायण स्वामी and friends, Margaret Atwood, Orientalism, Said, and that's it. Edward Said. Next question. The Cavalier poets, active during the early 17th century, were known for their light-hearted and courtly verses, which poet the To His Coy Mistress exemplifies this style. Option B, Andrew Marvell. Marvell's To His Coy Mistress, 1650. कभी आप लोगों ने सोचा मिस्ट्रेस में ही क्यों कॉय है, मिस्टर में क्यों कॉयनेस नहीं है? Combines wit and carpe diem themes. Seize of the day. Wit and carpe diem. आज जी लो, अभी जी लो, ऐसा थियरी. Themes characteristic of the Cavalier poets, and style is very elegant. Next question. The Graveyard School, a precursor to Romanticism focused on morality and melancholy. पहले क्वेश्चन, द ग्रेवयार्ड स्कूल रोमांटिसिज्म फोकस्ड किस पे? मोरालिटी एंड मेलंकली. विच पोएम बाय टॉमस ग्रे, वेरी 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 पॉपुलर, इज अ डिफाइनिंग वर्क ऑफ दिस मूवमेंट. अरे ये तो सबको ही पता है. ऑप्शन ए, एलिजी रिटन इन अ कंट्री चर्चयार्ड, 1751. Reflects on death and the common man, bridging neoclassicism and romanticism. Next question. Romanticism celebrates the individual connection to nature, which novel by Emily Bronte uses the Yorkshire Moors as a symbolic backdrop for passion and isolation. Option B, Wuthering Heights, in 1847. Uses nature to mirror intense emotion, a romantic trait. The aesthetic movements in 19th century prioritized art for art's sake, which work by Oscar Wilde embodies this philosophy. Option A, The Picture of Dorian Gray. In 1890, explores beauty and art moral implications central to aestheticism. Next, which is very important for your examination. Frequently asked and frequently featured in TGT PGT एंड LT GIC, मतलब जहां भी पूछे जाते होंगे। सिलेबस तो आपके हाथ में, सिलेबस इन इज योर हैंड। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, Modernism often depicted alienation and fragmentation identity, which play by Samuel Beckett reflects these themes through minimalist structure. Option D, all of the above, Waiting for Godot, Endgame, Craft Last Tape. Beckett's plays, especially Waiting for Godot, 1953. Use absurdity and minimalism to depict existentialism, alienation, key modernist themes. Next, postmodernism frequently employs pastiche and unreliable narrators. This novel by Toni Morrison blends historical and magical elements to explore African American identity. Obviously, beloved. क्वेश्चन देख के कि पढ़ा से आंसर तो जग जाहिर 1987 Beloved 1987 uses magical realism and fragmented narratives, aligning with postmodernism and contributing to the African American literary canon. Next question. The realist movement, prominent in the 19th century, aimed to depict life objectively, which novel by George Eliot is a key example of realism. Option B, Middlemarch. Eliot's Middlemarch, 1871 to 72, offers a detailed portrayal of provincial life, embodying realist principles. Next, Indian English poetry, a focus in recent all एग्जामिनेशन मेंशन इसमें एक एग्जाम किया गया बट जितने भी आते हैं ये लोग सबके लिए frequently important है. Often explores cultural identity with poet and atlas of the difficult world reflections post-colonial themes. अरे ऑप्शन बी ए के Romanism. Romanism poetry such as the Striders explores Indian identity and post-colonial tensions. Though an atlas is by rich this text knowledge of Indian poets. Next question. The theatre of absurd linked to modernism and existentialism. The theatre of absurd is a very important terms जो हमारे absurdity को शो करता है and existentialism deny करता है. Portray life meaninglessness which play by Harold Pinter is associated with the moment. Option D, The Birthday Party and the caretaker. Birthday party 1957 and the caretaker 1960. Use ambiguous dialogue and existential themes aligning with the theater of absurd. Canonization debates often address marginalized voices which critique can the subaltern of speak, which questions the representation of colonialized people in the literary canon. Option B is correct answer. Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak. Can the Subaltern of the Speak 1988 and today we will say yes, Subaltern can speak and we listen them carefully without any mediator, third party. Spivak, can the Subaltern of the Speak critiques the silencing of subaltern voices influencing post-colonial canon debates. We covers and 10 Cavalier poets graveyard school, aestheticism, realism, theatre of absurd, and highlighting works like Middlemarch, Morrison, Beloved, Spivak, and post-colonialism, Spivak and Romanism, feminist perspective, Toni Morrison, and existentialism, Beckett and Pinter, which are prominent in the recently all examination and a very trending topic for us. Next question. The Jacobian age. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल जैकोबियन एज यहीं से क्वेश्चन बनेगा टीजीटी में 3 to 25 पार्ट ऑफ रेनेसा और रोमांटिसिज्म ओरिएंटलिज्म एंड एक्जिस्टेंशियलिज्म सो सेकंड आंसर इज हियर is known for its dark and introspective drama means opposite इसके क्वेश्चन हो सकता है कि is known for eliminative and suspective drama the not suspective this is introspective and with play by John Webster अब इसके according क्वेश्चन आ गया आपका John Webster exemplified this period tragic intensity in which क्वेश्चन भी सारे इंपॉर्टेंट है आपको सेपरेटली ये क्या बोलते हैं जितने वर्क्स हैं आपको आने जरूर चाहिए बट अपना आंसर क्या है इसमें द वाइट टेबल ऑप्शन ए इज करेक्ट आंसर द वाइट टेबल वेबस्टर 1612 reflect the Jacobian focus on moral corruption and revenge क्या है करप्शन एंड रिवेंज A key Renaissance tragedy. Next. The sentimental novel. पॉपुलर कब हुआ 18th सेंचुरी एम्फेसाइज्ड किस बात पे जोर देता है इमोशन और मोरालिटी के अब क्वेश्चन विच नॉवेल पहले ये नॉवेल है इस बात का कंफर्मेशन मिल रहा है बाय सैमुअल रिचर्डसन is a cornerstone milestone of this movement. What? Pamela. Option B is correct answer. Pamela in 1740 uses epistolary form. Epistolary form virtue and sentiment virtue and vice नहीं sentiment emotions Shaping this novel development. Next, Romanticism valued imagination over reason. मीन्स ये रोमांटिसिज्म किसका वैल्यू किया? इमेजिनेशन का. किसके ऊपर? रीजन के ऊपर. विच मीन्स लॉजिक के ऊपर, लॉजिकल रीजन. विच पोएट सॉन्ग्स ऑफ इनोसेंस. अरे सबको पता है, ये तो ब्लैक की बात कर रहा है, फिर भी तभी हम भी चेक करेंगे. ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस एक्सप्लोर द ड्यूअलिटी एम्बिग्विटी ऑफ ह्यूमन नेचर, ह्यूमन का नेचर, contributing to the romantic canon. Option A, William Blake. Song of Innocence and Experience. Experience. When 1789 to 94. भाई क्वेश्चन पे जितने हम वो दे रहे हैं, आप लोग भी थोड़ा मैच कर सकते हैं, बट मैंने ऑथेंटिक ढूंढा है. Uses symbolic imagery and explore innocence and corruption. This is a canonical romantic work. Next question. The Victorian age addresses what? Industrial and social changes. Okay, समझ गए. Which novel? पहली बात, ये नॉवल है क्या? एलिजाबेथ बाय एलिजाबेथ गैस्केल. क्रिटिक क्लास. क्रिटिक्स इसमें क्रिटिसाइज किसको? क्लास डिस्पैरिटी, मतलब जो आज भी देखने को मिलता है, एंड इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन लाइक अंबानी एंड अडानी. ऑप्शन डी is correct answer. North and South and Mary Burton. North and South 1855 and Mary Burton 1848. Addresses class struggle and industrial impacts. मतलब इंडस्ट्रियल का इम्पैक्ट कैसे पड़ता है. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. Modernism experimented with form and perspective. Which novel by D.H. Lawrence? पहले Modernism experimented with which with form and perspective. मतलब इसमें फॉर्म होता है, हमारे पर्सपेक्टिव विचारधारा क्या है. Which novel by D.H. Lawrence explores psychological depth and sexual themes. Sons and Lovers. All of the above. Challenging traditional norms. मतलब ये सारे जितने भी हैं वो चैलेंज करते हैं जो क्या हमारे ट्रेडिशनल नॉर्म्स है. ऑप्शन डी इज करेक्ट आंसर. सन्स एंड लवर्स by D.S. Lawrence. Women in Love, Lady Charlotte and Lover. Lawrence Sons and Lovers 1813. Women in Love 1920. And Lady Charlotte Lover 19 after 8 years 1928. ये तो क्रोनोलॉजिकल में भी आप फिट करने के लिए दे सकता है. 1928 मीन्स सन्स एंड लवर्स पहले, फिर वुमेन इन लव एंड लेडी सेलोटी लवर 13 20 28. यूज साइकोलॉजिकल रियलिज्म and securing their place in modernist canon. Next question. Postmodernism often subverts traditional narratives. Which novel by Kurt uses science fiction, sci-fi and metafiction to critique war? Option B is correct answer. Slaughterhouses 5. Slaughterhouse 5 winning it in 1969 blends them travel and autobiography, a postmodern classic. Next question. The Gothic revival in the 19th century emphasized misery and supernatural. मीन्स ये जो गॉथिक रिवाइवल है 19th सेंचुरी का है और ये किस पे जोर देता है? मिजरी और सुपरनेचुरल, रहस्यमयी और मायावी, enchanting, supernatural. Which novel by Wilkie Collins is a key example? Sensation fiction and gothic offshoot. Option B, D is correct answer. A and B. The Moonstone and the Woman in White. Collins, The Moonstone, 1868, and The Moon in White, 1859. Combined Gothic elements with suspense, contributing to the sensation novel popularity. The Woman in White means what? Next question. Indian English literature, a trending topic. टॉपिक रिगार्डिंग टू ऑल एग्जामिनेशन जहां भी लिटरेचर पूछे जाते हो. Often explores post-colonial identity, which novel by Arundhati Roy won the Booker Prize for its lyrical style. Option A, The God of Small Things. Roy's The God of Small Things, 1997. Uses non-linear narrative to explore caste and family. A post-colonial canonical text. The Beat generation linked to mid-20th century. Counterculture emphasized spontaneity, which poem by Ellen Ginsberg is a defining work of this movement. Option A, Howl. When 1956, not 7. Critics consumerism with raw, free verse style. A beat classic frequently tasted for all examination. Canonization debates Canonization debates often focus on inclusivity, which critique the great tradition, argues for the selective canon based on moral seriousness, influencing literary studies. Option A, F. R. Lewis. In the great tradition. What? When? 1948. Champions authors like Eliot and James for the moral depth shaping canon debates. Next question. We cover Jacobean sentimental novel, Gothic revival, and Beat generation. Blake songs of innocence and experiences, The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy, and Arundhati Roy to such a post-colonial Feminist perspective, Gaskell and Lewis canon debates, which is prominent for frequently all examination. Next question. The Caroline age. पहला क्वेश्चन टीजीटी का यही से बन जाता है. टीजीटी क्या जहां भी पूछा जाएगा वही बनेगा ये क्वेश्चन. 1625 to 1649. Part of the English Renaissance. किसका है? Renaissance, Romanticism, Modernism, so on. Saw a blend of courtly and religious poetry, which poets' ill penseration reflect the meditative tone of this period. सच में ये तो बहुत कठिन सवाल पूछ दिया है क्योंकि बाय जॉन मिल्टन टिप ऑन द टिप है सबके. व्हेन 1631 ट्विंस पोएम है इल पेंसरेशो एल एलिग्रो and allegro for happiness and penseroso for melancholic and contemplative themes. Characteristic of the Caroline is introspective poetry. The Picaresque novel, emerging in the 18th century, flourished Rovis, पहले Picaresque Rovis, protagonist. Which novel by Henry Fielding is a prime example of this genre? Option D, Joseph Andrews and Tom Jones. पहला क्वेश्चन यही बनेगा कि पिक्चरिस्क नॉवल में वही रफ स्पेनिश वर्ड एंड फिर हेनरी फील्डिंग बिलोंग टू दिस era and Henry Fielding's work, Joseph Andrews and Tom Jones. Publication also important for all. 1742 Andrews and Tom Jones. क्रोनोलॉजिकल में भी ये हेल्प करेगा कि जोसेफ एंड्रयूज के टाइमलाइन और टॉम जोन्स के. दैट्स इट. फीचर्स, एडवेंचर्स, मोरालिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स, प्रोटागोनिस्ट, shaping the picaresque tradition in the English canon. Next question. Romanticism emphasized the sublime and individual experiences. Romanticism emphasized sublime and individual experience, with poet Childe Harold Pilgrimage reflects Byronic hero, a romantic archetype. Byronic hero भी अपने आप में एक टर्म है, आर्किटाइप है ही. ऑप्शन ए, लॉर्ड बायरन. Byron Childe Harold Pilgrimage 1812 to 1818 introduced the brooding, rebellious Byronic hero, a key romantic contribution to this canon. Next question. The Victorian age grappled with लेता है साथ में, in accordance with, according to, in accordance with लेता है. Grappled with what? Science and fate. Which poet in memoriam, Arthur Henry, explores grief and doubt in the context of Darwinian ideas. Option A, Alfred Lord Tennyson. In memoriam in 1850. Arthur Henry Hallam. Reflect Victorian struggle with faith and science, securing its canonical status. इम्पोर्टेंट है सारे एग्जाम के लिए. कहने में भी थोड़ा अजीब लगता है कि सारे बच्चे स्कॉलर हैं, ऑब्वियसली सीरियस है पढ़ने में, तो उनको तो क्वेश्चन का लेवल शुरू में ही समझ में आ जाता है ना. क्यों टाइम वेस्ट करना. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर ऑल एग्जामिनेशन. So on. Modernism often portrayed urban alienation. Modernism portray करता है क्या? Urban alienation. Which novel? Joseph Conrad explores psychological and moral ambiguity, contributing modernist canon. Option D, Heart of Darkness, Lord Jim and Nostromo. Heart of Darkness 1899 and Lord Jim 1900 and Nostromo 1904. तो ये तो उसमें भी आ सकता है, क्रोनोलॉजिकल में भी. डार्कनेस पहले आया, फिर लॉर्ड जिम, फिर नॉस्ट्रोमो. Use complex narrative to explore human psyche. पोस्ट मॉडर्निज्म एम्ब्रेस, किसको एम्ब्रेस किया है इसने? इंटरटेक्चुअलिटी एंड फ्रेगमेंटेशन. Which novel by Janet Winster reimagines gender and history through a non-linear narrative? Option D, B and C. Sexing the Cherry, the Passion. Sexing the Cherry in 1989 and the Passion 1987. Blend myth and history. ब्लेंडिंग में क्या है? मिथ है और हिस्टोरिकल. रिफ्लेक्टिंग पोस्ट मॉडर्न एंड फेमिनिस्ट थीम. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, इको क्रिटिसिज्म. A growing focus in recent exams. Means eco criticism, a very trending topic, examines literature environmental themes. Which romantic poets work like Tintin Abbey anticipates eco-critical perspective? Tintin Abbey. Option A, William Wordsworth. Wordsworth Tintin Abbey in 1798 celebrates with spiritual and restorative power. Spiritual and restorative power. align with लेते हैं इको क्रिटिकल. Indian English literature often addresses cultural hybridity. Which novel by Anita Desai explores psychological and post-colonial themes in a canonical work? Option D, all of the above. Desai, Clear Light of Day 1980. Fire of the on the Mountain 1977 and In Custody 1984. मीन्स पहले कस्टडी आया फिर नो 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 कस्टडी नहीं, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल फायर माउंटेन, फिर आग लगी तो क्लियर लाइट डे, उजाला हुआ आग से, फिर क्या, फिर जब दिन में आया तो सारी बातें ओपन हो गई तो इन कस्टडी, अपनी कस्टडी में लेंगे। तो ऐसे करके इनका क्रोनोलॉजिकल हो गया 1977 में माउंटेन एंड 1980 में क्लियर लाइट ऑफ द डे एंड इन कस्टडी लास्ट 1984। क्रोनोलॉजिकल में हेल्प कर सकता है ये आपकी। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, द कन्फेशनल पोइट्री, कमला दास आ गई अब यहाँ पे तो, बट the confessional poetry movement linked mid 20th century. American literature emphasized personal experiences, जैसे इंडिया में कमला दास ने an introduction में, which poet Ariel is a defining work of this movement. Sylvia Plath, option A is correct answer. Plath's Ariel 1965 uses raw personal imagery to explore trauma, a confessional masterpiece. Like in India, Kamala Das. Canonization debates address inclusivity and diversity, which critiques the location of the culture, explores hybridity, influencing post-colonial canon formation. Option C, Homi K. Bhabha. Location and the culture in 1994. Introduce hybridity in and third space. Very important. Third space. Hybridity. Reshaping post-colonial canon debates. हमने कवर किया है इतने तक में कैरोलिन एच पिकरेक्स नॉवेल इको क्रिटिसिज्म, कन्फेशनल पोइट्री एंड ऑथर्स टॉनी मॉरिसन नॉट टेनिशन इन मेमोरियम, सिल्विया प्लाथ का एरियल एंड पोस्ट कॉलोनियल में अनीता देसाई एंड भाभा, होमी के भाभा, इको क्रिटिसिज्म में Wordsworth and confessional poetry Sylvia Plath, which all topics very important, very prominent for all examination. Next question. Written age. Time period 1649 to 1660. Emphasized religious and moral themes, which work by John Bunyan is a defining allegorical text of this period. तो हम सब जानते हैं अच्छी तरीके से द पिलग्रिम प्रोग्रेस, द पिलग्रिम प्रोग्रेस बाय बनियन 1678 is a religious allegory of spiritual salvation, a canonical Puritan text. Next question. The novel of manners, prominent in 18th and 19th centuries depicted social custom, which novel by Jane Austen is a key example, is a prominent example of this genre. All of the above, Pride and Prejudice, Emma, and Sense and Sensibility. Pride and Prejudice, 1813. Jane Austen is a Jane Austen by Pride and Prejudice, 1813. Emma, 1815, and Sense and Sensibility, 1811. Means Sense and Sensibility, then Pride and S square, Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, and Emma. 11, 13, and 15. Next question. Romanticism celebrates what? Emotion and supernatural. Okay. Then, which work by John Keats reflects the moment's fascination with beauty and morality? Answer D. All of the above. Ode to a Nightingale, Endymion, and the Eve of Saint Agnes. Nightingale 1819, Nightingale 19. कोरिलेट कर सकते हैं आप. Endymion 1818 and Eve of Saint Agnes 1820. So Endymion, then Nightingale, then Eve of Saint Agnes. Explore beauty and transience core romantic themes. Next, the Victorian age. Okay, explore social and gender issue. We understand. The poet Aura Leigh blends epic poetry with a feminist theme. Answer A. Eliza Barrett Browning. Aura Leigh, 1856, is a verse novel advocating women independence, a canonical Victorian. Modernism often used to structure narratives which work by William Butler Yeats draw on Celtic mythology to reflect modernist themes. The Tower, The Wandering of Oisin, and Sailing to Byzantium. All of the above. Option D is correct answer, and the Wanderings of Oisin is 1889, and the Tower 18, 1928, and also Sailing to Byzantium 1928. Use myth to explore identity and time. Key text is a modernist. Next question. Postmodernism often incorporates popular culture. Which novel by Don DeLillo explores media saturation and consumerism in a post-modern framework? Answer A. White Noise, 1985, uses satire and fragmented narratives to critique media culture, a postmodern classic. Next, The new Negro movement, synonymous with the Harlem Renaissance. Okay, we understand. Celebrated Afro American identity. Which novel by Zora Neale Hurston is a key text of this movement? Answer A. Their eyes were watching God. Hudson, Their Eyes Were Watching God, 1937. Explore Black Female Identity, a colonial Harlem Renaissance text. Indian English literature, a focus in recently all examination, often explores diaspora, which novel by Jhumpa Lahiri addresses immigrant identity. All India one exam pattern for English literature. Jhumpa Lahiri, the namesake interpreter of Maladies and the Lowland. Lahiri is the namesake 2003 and interpreter of Maladies 1919 and the Lowland 2013. Explore diaspora identity and post-colonial ideology. The feminist movement in literature critiques patriarchal structures, which work by Virginia Woolf argues for women autonomy, influencing the canon. A room of one's own and also Mrs. Dalloway. So option D is correct answer. Wolf, A Room of One's Own in 1929 and the no answer C. This is answer B. A and B. Silly mistake. टिक तो सही है बट वो द थ्री जीनियस The Room of One's Own, Three Genius, and 1929, and this 1938. Advocate for women intellectual freedom, shaping feminist canon debates. Next question. Canonization debates often critique Western bias, which critique were rest of the earth argues for decolonization influencing post-colonial canon inclusion. Franz Fanon, option C is correct answer. Franz Fanon, The Rest of the Earth is 1961, advocates for decolonization impacting post-colonial canon formation. These topics are we have covered Puritan Age, Novel of Manners, New Negro Movement, and Feminist Movement. And works Austin Pride and Prejudice, Wolf, A Room of One's Own, and Post-Colonialism, Jhumpa Lahiri and Franz Fanon, Feminist Criticism, Wolf and Elizabeth Barrett Browning, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and the Harlem Renaissance, Hurston, and all topics are very relevant. Next, the Augustan Age, 18th century, emphasized satire and classical imitation, okay, which work by Jonathan Swift critiques human folly is a canonical text of this period. A modest proposal, the Battle of the Books, a tale of the tub, of or tub. Option D is correct answer. Swift or modest proposal, 1729. The Battle of the Books, 1704. And a tale of tub also. Used sharp satire embodying Augustan ideals frequently tested. The romantic novel often explored emotion and individualism. Okay, which novel by Mary Shelley, Beyond Frankenstein, reflects the romantic themes of isolation and ambition. The Last Man, Mathilda, and Valperga. Solis, The Last Man, 1826, and next 1819, and last 1823. Valperga explored romantic themes of isolation and human limits. Next question. The Victorian age addressed urban poverty and reform, which novel by Charles Dickens critiques only the legal system and social inequality. Bleak House and Oliver Twist. Bleak House, 1852 to 53. 53, and Oliver Twist, 1837 to 39, exposed social injustices, securing their canonical status. Modernism often used fragmented narratives which work by Gertrude Stein experiments with language and repetition, challenging traditional forms. Tinder Buttons, Three Lives, The Making of Americans, 1914, 1909, and 1925. Push linguistic boundaries. Next question. Postmodernism frequently employs metafiction. Which novel by Ian McEwan uses self-referential narratives to explore guilt and authorship? Atonement. Option A is correct answer. In 2001, uses metafiction to question narrative truth. Postmodern classic. The decadent movement, linked to late 19th century literature, embraced excess aestheticism, which work by J.K. Hummels influenced this movement. Option A, Against Nature, a Rebirth. in 1884. Celebrated sensory excess influenced decadent writers like Wilde. In Indian English literature, a topic often explores partition. अब सब लोग समझ गए होंगे इससे तो partition आंसर पे आ जाओ ट्रेन टू पाकिस्तान which novel by खुशवंत सिंह depicts the drama of India partition. ट्रेंडिंग टॉपिक भाई क्या डिकोड करता है ये डिकोड करता है कि इसकी रिलेवेंसी हम क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं अपना टाइम दे रहे हैं तो इसके बदले में हमें क्या मिलेगा यही होता है हमारा ट्रेंडिंग टॉपिक तो ये एग्जाम के रेलेवेंस से 100% कोर टॉपिक है मतलब दूध नहीं सीधे घी अब माँ सरस्वती के आदेश से आप लोग ले सको तो ले लो अपने अपने हिस्से की ज्ञान ट्रेन टू पाकिस्तान खुशवंत सिंह बाय खुशवंत सिंह 1956 portrays the human cost of partition, canonical text. Next question. Imagist movement. The Imagist movement linked to early 20th century modernism. Do not confuse into 17th or 18th century. Emphasized precision of and imagery, which poet in the station of the metro is a defining imagist work. Bolo. Option A, Ezra Pound. Ezra Pound in a station of the metro in 1913 uses concise, vivid imagery, a cornerstone of imagism. Next question. Feminist literary criticism, a focus in recent exam. ये भी इम्पोर्टेंट है. Critics patriarchal narratives. हाँ होते ही हैं patriarchy से क्रिटिक तो होनी भी चाहिए. Which work by Kate Millett analyze sexual politics. What is sexual politics in literature? Option A, sexual politics. Millett sexual politics in 1970 critique male-dominated literary canons. Sexual politics means आपको identify purely कर दिया जाता है कि नहीं what we can do or not do. ये क्या है यही तो है. अदरवाइज कैसे कोई किसी के लिए ये डिसाइड करेगा कि तुम्हें ये करना चाहिए या नहीं करना चाहिए. Canonization debates address global perspective which critique black skin, white mask, explore racial identity impacting post-colonial canon inclusion. Option A, Franz Fanon. Fanon, Black Skin, White Mask in 1952. Analyze colonial psychology, reshaping post-colonial canon debates. We covered Augustin Age, romantic novel, decadent movement, and imagist movement, and highlighting works prominent authors Dickens' Bleak House, Ezra Pound in a station of the metro. They address Khushwant Singh, such as post-colonialism, Khushwant Singh and Franz Fanon. feminist criticism by Kate Millett, and modernist experimentation, Stein and Ezra Pound. All are the important for our examination. Next question. The Commonwealth period. Time duration 1649 to 1660 reflected Puritan influence and political upheaval, which epic poem by John Milton, written during this period, is a cornerstone of the English literary canon. Option A, Paradise Lost. When? 1667. Explored divine and human nature, a canonical epic reflecting Puritan themes frequently asked in many examinations. Next question. The epistolary novel, popular in 18th century, used letters to convey narratives, which novel by Samuel Richardson further developed this former after this form after Pamela Clarissa. Option A and B, Clarissa and Sir Charles Grandison. Clarissa 1748 and Sir Charles 1753. Used epistolary form to explore morality. Next question. Romanticism emphasized the power of imagination, which poet The Prelude is an autobiographical epic reflecting romanticism, romantic introspection. So, power of imagination, which poet The Prelude. Prelude is a autobiographical epic by Wordsworth in 1850, divided by 14 books. Explore personal growth and nature influence. Next question. The Victorian Age, often depicted industrial society challenges. Which novel by Thomas Hardy explore rural decline and tragic fate? The Mayor of Castor Bridge, Far from the crowd, Madding crowd, and Jude the Obscure. All of the above. Option D is correct answer. Mayor of the Castor Bridge, 1886, and the crowd, 1874, and Obscure, 1895. मतलब पहले क्राउड, फिर कैस्टर, भीड़ बढ़ी तो मेयर बने, और फिर तब फिर जूड एंड ऑब्सक्योर, मतलब लास्ट में ये आया. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. मॉडर्निज्म embraced what? Experimental forms. Okay. Which novel by E.M. Foster explore class and cultural tensions, reflecting modernist social critique? Option D, Howard's End and A Room with a View. Howard's End, 1890, and no. Howard's End in 1910. 1910. And the Room View, 1908. Means पहले view फिर end. Critique social structure. Next. Postmodernism often uses parody. and intertextuality. Okay. Postmodernism often uses parody and intertextuality, which novel Angela Carter reimagines fairy tales with a feminist and magical realist elements. The Bloody Chambers, Knights and at the Circus, and White Children, all of the above. Bloody Chamber 1979, Knights at the Circus, in the circus nahi, at the circus 1984, and White Children 1991. Next question. Use postmodernism technique to challenge gender norms. The Black Art movements 1960 to 70 emphasized Afro-American cultural identity, which Poet for My People reflects this movement themes. Margaret Walker. Option C. For My People is 1942 celebrates black reliance and a precursor to the black art movements. Indian English literature explore topics in the explored gender and tradition, which poet an introduction critiques patriarchal norm. अरे ये तो सबको अब पता चल गया. An introduction patriarchal norms. अपनी कमला दास. An introduction in 1965. Asserts female identity, a post-colonial and feminist canonical text. Next question. The symbolist movement influencing late 19th century, okay, emphasized suggestion over explicitness. होता ना implicit or explicit, which poets' work influenced English symbolism through translation. Charles Baudelaire, Stephen Mallarmé, and Paul Verlaine. Symbolist work influenced English poets like Yeats, contributing the canon. Next question. Canonization debates critique traditional exclusivity, which critique autonomy of criticism, anatomy of criticism, anatomy, not anatomy, of criticism proposes a systematic approach to literary analysis impacting canon discussion. Option A. Northrop Frye. Criticism it 1957, not 47. Offers archetypal frameworks. We cover Commonwealth period, epistolary novel, symbolist movement, and black arts movement. Highlighted works we discuss Milton Paradise Lost and Kamala Das an introduction, such as postcolonial like Kamala Das, feminist criticism, Carter and Kamala Das also, and cultural identity, Walker, which are the prominent in recently all examination. Next question. The new romantic movement emerging in 1940 revived romantic themes in response to war and industrialization, which poet The Hawk in the Rain reflects this movement. Option A, Ted Hughes. The Hawk in the Rain 1957 uses vivid natural imagery, echoing romantic themes in a modern context. The Bildungsroman, a novel of personal development, spans multiple periods, which 19th century novel by Charlotte Bronte, distinct from Jane Eyre, depicts a woman's artistic growth. Option A, Village, 1853, traces Lucy Snow, a canonical Bildungsroman. Next question. The Romantic movement valued folk traditions, which collects a collection by Brothers Grimm, influential in England, shaped romantic interest in folklore. Grimm fairy tales, household tales, and German popular stories. Grimm collection 1812 to 1850, 15, and German popular stories in England fueled romantic fascination with oral traditions. The Victorian sensation novel combined melodrama, a social critique, which novel by Mary Elizabeth Braddon is a key example of this genre. Sensation novel combined melodrama and social critique. Option D, Lady Audley's Secret and Aura Floyd, 1862, 1863. Youth scandal and suspense, contributing to the Victorian era. Next question. Modernism often explored psychological depth, logical depth, rational depth, mutual understanding, reciprocal understanding, which novel by Ford uses an unreliable narrator to reflect modernist narrative complexity. Option D, both A and B. The Good Soldier, 1915, and Parade End, 1922, 24 to 1928. Use non-linear narratives, Next, post-modernism often challenges historical narratives. With novel Julian Barnes reimagines history through a self-conscious narrative. Flowered pattern, parrot, the sense of an ending, England, England. 1984, sense of an ending 2011, and England, England 1998. Next question, the kitchen sink drama, not drama. The kitchen sink, obviously drama and realism movement. The kitchen sink drama realism movement linked to 1950 British literature depicted what working class life, which play by John Osborne, Look Back in Anger, is a defining work of this movement. आप लोगों ने तो देखते ही बता दिया, लुक बैक इन एंगर. क्वेश्चन पूरा होने से पहले ही आंसर दे दिया आप लोगों ने तो. भाई हम ही रिप्रेजेंट करें 1956. अच्छा, तो फिर इसमें क्या हो? पोर्ट्रेज वर्किंग क्लास फ्रस्ट्रेशन. यस. Canonical text of kitchen sink drama realism. Next question. Indian English literature often explored post-colonial identity. Which novel by Vikram Seth depict Indian society post-independence? By Vikram Seth. अरे ये तो पता है हमको, A Suitable Boy. 1993. ऐसा आप लोग एग्जाम में बोलेंगे. Explore cultural and political transition. Cultural and political like पंचायत सीरीज की तरह के क्या हो सकता है भाई? A post-colonial canonical text. And today's second last question. The magic realist moment influencing global literature blends realism and fantasy. Okay, the magic realist movement influence किसको करता है? ग्लोबल लिटरेचर को. ब्लेंड्स किसका मिश्रण है ये? रियलिज्म एंड फैंटेसी. Which novel by Gabriel Garcia Marquez influenced English language writers? 100 Year of Solitude, Love in the Time of Cholera. इसका तो मिस वर्ड में भी मिस स्पेल्ड, नॉट मिस वर्ड, इसमें भी पूछेगा. एंड क्रॉनिकल ऑफ अ डेथ फॉरटोल्ड. तो सॉलिट्यूड 1867, नो 18 नहीं 19. ऑप्शन डी 1967. And other works introduce magic realism influencing the global literature. And today's last question. Canonization debates critique aesthetic criteria. Which critiques the well-wrought or important work defends new criticism influencing canon formation? Option A, Clint Brooks. Brooks the well-wrought on 1947. Easy to learn. Emphasize close reading shaping the new critical literature. We will discuss new romanticism, Bildungsroman, sensation novel, kitchen sink realism, and magic realism, and reinforce canonization by highlighting works, authors central to the literary canon like Braddon, Lady, Audley Secret, and Bikram Seth, A Suitable Boy. They address the topics relevancy and realism may John Osborne and post-colonial Bikram Seth and Gabriel Garcia Marquez and literary theory में Clint Brooks ये literary theory topics which are prominent are all examination is uh, so I hope you like this session. भाई बहुत मेहनत लगती है वीडियो बनाने में, आपके लिए क्वेश्चन कलेक्ट करने में टाइम इशू रहता है, फिर भी आपके लिए तो बल्क में आएंगे ही क्वेश्चन आप, और वो भी एग्जाम के रिलेवेंसी के साथ. सो आई होप यू लाइक दिस वीडियो. इफ यू आर न्यू टू दिस चैनल, please subscribe, like, share and share your own thoughts in comments. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and also don't forget to press the bell icon for our latest update. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, obviously this video is very helpful for you, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel, your own platform. Stay tuned for more informative content and make sure to hit the bell icon to never miss any update. See you in the next video. Thank you.